Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. Derek White is an Olympic and NBA champion and one of the best defensive players today. If the Warriors can land him, they'll have an unstoppable defensive duo in Draymond Green and Derek White. While the Celtics haven't shared any desire to part ways with Derek White, the combo guard will be 32 years old at the start of next season, when Boston will look to be contending again. That doesn't mean he's going to fall off then, but the Celtics could be interested in more of a youth shift to extend their contention window. The Golden State Warriors have had an interesting run in recent years, but they could soon add an important piece of their last championship run. In 2022, the Warriors had a bit of a basketball resurgence. After missing the playoffs in 2020 and 2021, the Warriors were finally back to the NBA's forefront and looking to add another title to their dynasty's resume. In less than 10 minutes. With Klay Thompson returning mid-season, everything was quickly shaping up for Golden State to have one more magical run with its big three. Of course, that's exactly what happened, eventually beating the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. Considering that life can throw some curveballs, one of the players trying to prevent the Warriors from that ring could be their best hope at getting another. Time for the Warriors to pursue Derek White. In a recent article from Warriors on SI's Liam Willerup, he listed some trade targets for the Warriors in a potential Jonathan Kuminga trade, and Derek White was one of the top names. Although it might be difficult to get White out of Boston, there might be a pathway to getting him into San Francisco. Considering Boston's cap situation led to some major shakeups this summer, buying low on Kuminga could be a perfect solution for the Celtics. Meanwhile, if the Warriors can swing this trade, it would be a no-brainer. White has been a great shooter, scorer, and defender throughout his time in Boston, playing a significant role in the team's recent postseason runs. While no deal involving Kuminga will be perfect, adding White next season could make all of this summer's headaches worth it. Jimmy Butler can make Warriors trade even more lopsided with one key improvement. Chiefs 27-21. The Golden State Warriors have already been regarded as big winners from their blockbuster trade for Jimmy Butler in early February, having seen their season completely flipped on its head following the arrival of the 6x All-Star. Butler may have helped the Warriors go from a less than .500 record to taking out the second-seed Houston Rockets and reaching the second round of the playoffs. But there's still another level he can get to which will make the trade even more lopsided and make Golden State a far tougher challenge to face. Jimmy Butler hasn't found his jump shot with the Warriors. Butler's never been known as a three-point shooter, rather someone who does his best work in the paint and from the mid-range area. That was something that was on full display once he arrived at the Warriors, giving the team a new presence and offensive versatility with his ability to dissect defenses and get to the free throw line. However, as much as shooting may not be a big part of Butler's toolkit, it seems like he left that part back in Miami following the trade. His three-point numbers took a significant dive, having shot just 27.9% in 30 regular season games followed by 30.6% during the playoffs. Again, Butler doesn't prioritize three-point shooting whatsoever, but he was at least efficient during his final few seasons with the Heat. He shot 35% from beyond the arc in 2022-23, followed that with a career-high 41.4% in 2023-24, and even drilled 36.1% in his dramatic 25 games last season before the trade. Perhaps more concerning is the fact his mid-range shooting also struggled upon his arrival at the Warriors. Butler was at just 36.4% from the mid-range after the All-Star break and 33.3% during the playoffs, both well below the in excess of 40% he shot at various points throughout his career. The importance in Butler's shooting numbers weigh heavier when you consider his teammates and the kind of lineup Steve Kerr is putting on the floor. Fellow veteran forward Draymond Green is never really respected from beyond the arc despite stretches of rhythm and improved percentages, while the same can be said for Jonathan Kuminga at this stage of his career. If Kuminga does return to the Warriors to start next season, the ability for Kerr to play each of Butler and Green for significant minutes will largely be determined by how that trio shoot from beyond the arc. Butler finding his mid-range and shooting even just 35 to 36% from three-point range would make a huge difference to his own production, his fit with teammates, and Golden State's ability to draw closer to the absolute top tier of teams in the Western Conference. Warriors quietly part ways with player from summer roster. Jordan Shackelford, who played Summer League with the Golden State Warriors, just signed with the Phoenix Suns. According to Hoops Hype, Jordan Shackelford, who played Summer League with the Golden State Warriors, has inked a deal with the Phoenix Suns. Though details of the contract were not revealed, it seems likely that the contract is a training camp deal that will allow Shackelford to play for the Valley Suns in the G League next season, as he spent his 2024-25 campaign with them. Shackelford suited up for the Warriors during Summer League, playing 7 total games, 2 in the California Classic and 5 in Vegas. In those 7 games combined, Shackelford played 21.8 minutes per contest, averaging 8.0 points, 3.0 rebounds, and 1.9 assists while shooting 27.5% from the field and 26.2% from deep. Needless to say, he didn't make a good enough impression to stick around. Why did Warriors let Jordan Shackelford walk? Based on his efficiency alone, Shackelford's performance during Summer League wasn't enough to earn him a training camp deal with the Warriors. However, the Suns clearly know him well enough to want to bring him back. And it makes sense, too, as he enjoyed a relatively successful G League campaign with them last season. Across 50 appearances, Shackelford played 30.9 minutes per contest. He averaged 18.2 points, 3.6 rebounds, and 2.8 assists while shooting 40.2% from the floor and 36% from deep. Should Warriors dip into Summer League roster? Though Shackelford didn't work out with the Warriors, ending in him returning to the Suns heading into next year, that doesn't mean their Summer League campaign was a complete bust. As the Warriors prepare to fill out their training camp roster once the Jonathan Kuminga situation resolves itself, they could look to pull from their summer squad. Reggie Perry, who averaged a double-double for the Warriors' Summer League squad, is 25 years old and spent last season playing overseas ball. Michael Jantunen is a 25-year-old sharpshooter from Finland. Kendrick Davis is a 26-year-old guard who enjoyed an impressive season playing international ball last year. Any of those 3 players, or perhaps even all of them, would make a great addition to the Warriors' training camp roster, giving them a very interesting player to keep tabs on. So, just because Shackelford is no longer in the Warriors' ecosystem doesn't mean Summer League was for nautical. Warriors given mixed Stephen Curry reality that will terrify fans. How many years has Steph got left at the top? Stephen Curry has now been the face of the Golden State Warriors for well over a dozen years, leading the team to 4 championships as one of the best players of this generation. At 37 years old and about to enter his 17th NBA season, Curry hasn't shown many signs of slowing down. However, that presents a mixed reality for Warrior fans who still witness a heavy burden thrown on the shoulders of the 2x MVP. Stephen Curry could still be the Warriors' best player in 3 years. In a recent article for Bleacher Report, writer Grant Hughes had a crack at predicting each team's best player in 3 years' time. Curry will be 40 by that point and 2 decades into his career, but that hasn't stopped the prediction that he'll remain Golden State's best player. But what if Curry is still an All-NBA player in 3 years? Stranger things have happened, Hughes wrote. And though Steph would be entering his age 40 season in 3 years, longtime rival LeBron James is proving success is sustainable at that age. Plus, it's not like the Dubs are teeming with prospects. This presents a mixed reality for Warrior fans and the prospect of the team's championship hopes in the coming years. On one hand, it's great to think that there's still years of Curry's magic left to enjoy. While we should never take his brilliant audacious shot-making and wizardry for granted, there's some relief in knowing that this could still go on for a little longer if Curry can remain healthy and with some injury luck. We know there's few others in the league who prepare their body for the on-court rigors like the 11x All-Star. The issue though is considering the fate of the Warriors if Curry is still their best player in 3 years' time. Some may already be questioning his ability to be the best player on a championship team heading into this season, and even Golden State fans would have to consider that prospect highly unlikely in 3 years. The more terrifying element is wondering if Curry can even be a star player at 40 years old if the franchise continues to put a heavy burden on him, having suffered a hamstring strain in the playoffs that was undoubtedly impacted by a big workload over the second half of the season. If the Warriors want to retain hopes of contending by the time Curry is 40 years old, they're almost certainly going to need a blockbuster trade for a younger superstar. Giannis Antetokounmpo has long been the dream for owner Joe Lacob, but who knows what happens around the league between now and 2028. Perhaps there's also just a likely reality to come to terms with that Curry will continue to dazzle and bring joy to fans for a while longer, but that the Warriors' chances of winning another championship in the coming years are slim as presently constructed. DeAnthony Melton is making a huge sacrifice every Warriors fan will appreciate. Coming off a back injury then a torn ACL with the Golden State Warriors early last season, DeAnthony Melton was never going to get a big payday in free agency given he's appeared in just 44 games over the past 2 years. Yet even despite the injury issues that have plagued his career in recent times, Melton is still making a significant sacrifice should he agree to a 1-year, minimum-level deal with the Warriors as is expected once Jonathan Kuminga's future is settled. DeAnthony Melton is taking a risk by signing a veteran minimum contract. It shouldn't be underestimated how difficult it is to accept the stature of being a minimum contract player, and just how much it can pigeonhole someone and limit their future earnings moving forward in their career. It's something Bleacher Report's Jake Fisher recently referred to on Friday's Insider Notebook, but more in reference to former stars like Ben Simmons and Russell Westbrook who've previously been on max-level contracts. Fisher even referenced another potential Golden State free agent target in Malcolm Brogdon who may be consigned to taking a minimum deal after making $130 million on 2 contracts over the past 6 years. However, the difficulty in accepting being a veteran minimum player also applies to Melton and perhaps becomes an even bigger factor when you consider he's never got the mega deals that the likes of Westbrook and Simmons have. There certainly has to be a challenge in accepting a minimum contract when you're just 27 years old. That's a point where many are in their prime and are subsequently cashing in with life-changing money that creates generational wealth. That's unfortunately not the case for Melton, whose body has let him down. While not a star by any means, there's little doubt that at his best he's worth far more than the minimum and even something north of $10 million per year. Despite playing just 38 games with the Philadelphia 76ers in 2023-24, the Warriors were still willing to sign Melton to the full $12.8 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception last offseason, which appeared a great move until the untimely knee injury. His expected willingness now to sacrifice and take the minimum rather than push for more says plenty about his character, and also shows how much he values the Warriors and believing they're the best team to rehabilitate his value. Every Warriors fan will appreciate that and will be hoping Melton can have a bounce-back year that culminates in a significant multi-year offer from the Warriors or elsewhere in free agency next offseason. Warriors already have Al Horford's role decided if latest rumors are true. As the Golden State Warriors approach the 2025-26 NBA season, there are a number of lingering questions regarding the construction of their roster, primarily as a result of their lack of a resolution to their standoff with restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga. Yet, according to NBA insider Jake Fisher, one thing that is almost certain is that Horford will be with the team at the start of the season and that he will likely take on their starting center role. While it remains to be seen what the exact terms of Horford's contract will be, it is incredibly likely that he will play a huge role for the Warriors this season as they attempt to propel themselves into contention. Al Horford will be the starting center for the Warriors next season. As the offseason opened, Golden State had multiple needs that they had to address, most notably their lack of a capable defensive center. While they have 7-footer Quinton Post on the roster, his slow-footedness and underdeveloped rebounding game made him difficult to play in clutch situations and against bigger opposing teams. This was most clearly evidenced in the playoffs against the Houston Rockets, as players like Alperen Sengun, Steven Adams, and Jabari Smith Jr. absolutely bodied the Warriors on the offensive and defensive glass. Horford, at 39 years old, still represents a viable solution for Golden State, having started 43 games for Boston last season while averaging 9 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 2.1 assists. Now, Fisher has noted that the Warriors, along with the rest of the league, as though the plan is for Horford to be a part of the team's starting lineup at the start of the season, it's not necessarily a done deal, but the whole league and the Golden State Warriors in particular are absolutely moving and operating as if Horford will be with the team, and potentially their starting center. I think that's part of the plan. While adding a 39-year-old center will mean that 4 of the team's starters will be over the age of 35, Golden State frankly did not have any better options this offseason. Players such as Brook Lopez and Miles Turner came off the board almost immediately, and, apart from those 2 players, mostly depth pieces were available at the position this offseason. Therefore, Horford represents an ideal, temporary solution for the Warriors. With an offense that centers around Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler, he will not be asked to score at an unreasonable clip, and, if he is able to rebound well and help anchor the team's defense on the interior, he could make a massive difference in the team's starting lineup.